Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining today for our census 1.0 launch. We're going to get kickstarted. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go into some of the new exciting things that we're going to be working on, or excuse me, that we have worked on for 1.0. So bear with me while I make that happen. And one thing we would love all of you to do, if you haven't done it already, is to introduce yourself in a chat. We've been very adamant about making sure that we are a community. We love having our investors engage with our customers, engage with folks who we're partnered with. So please be sure, there's a mix of people today, but please be sure to connect in our chat that's going on. And one of our team members, James, who you also see up here, is chatting with everyone. So we're going to get kickstarted. Thanks again for joining our 1.0 launch today. If you haven't met me, my name is Taisha O'Brien. I am the founder and head of strategy for Seam Social Labs, and our company is focused on empowering communities across America. And we do that through technology. And how we've done that is through CoCensus. CoCensus is one of the many products that we've developed or planning to develop that is focused on actually using technology through public engagement to ensure that people in the community have a voice that is heard. And so what we're going to do is talk to you a little bit today about some of the features that our product team have developed and already launched and that are live on 1.0 right now as we speak. But before we actually jump into 1.0 and some of those new features, we actually wanted to talk a little bit about our journey and how we got here. For most of our customers, you've been working with us for maybe 3, 4, 6 months, maybe even close to a year now. But it's been a long journey before we even had a product that's live. And so we want to talk to you a bit about that journey. After that, we'll actually jump into 1.0 and the new features that you're going to see on the platform the next time you log in. We'll also talk about 2 key things that we've developed for your benefit, which are our help center and our community space. Both are to your advantage so you can connect with our fellow customers and also help guide you through the process of launching surveys, analyzing data, and getting insights on our platform. So we're going to get kickstarted. Most of you may not know this, but back in 2018 is when I first got the idea for CoCensus. And instead of jumping and saying, I'm going to create a technology that does what CoCensus does now, we actually started with community engagement, the very thing most of our customers are trying to figure out. So we spent a lot of time going to communities in the Bronx in New York City, Inwood, Washington Heights. I flew to Kansas City to engage community members there in a neighborhood that was revitalizing. And I also spent a lot of time talking to civic leaders and community members in the Bay Area. My main goal was to understand why, in certain situations, communities felt left out of conversations, but also why civic leaders and even corporations were saying, hey, we've done the work of community engagement, but we're still missing some information. And there are some critical things I learned throughout that process. And most important is that I learned that community, collaboration, and co-design were keys to success. And this is the very reason why, when we started playing around with the idea of CoCensus, we would do things like go to community festivals and play giant Jenga with community members. And we would mark on each Jenga piece different elements of a community, like public art, urban gardens, and work with them to actually have to manage infrastructure and say, if you had to choose one of these things, what would you pick? What's the most important? We had people actually test out surveys throughout that process. And we tried online surveys and text message surveys. And that's how we really started to develop our product. One of the things we also learned on this journey is that there are some big issues with how community engagement is currently done. Some of the key things we learned is that language is critical, whether it's what language surveys are in and what language people speak, or how conversational surveys are. This is something that is of the utmost importance to the everyday person. And also we learned that people feel that being tracked is triggering. A lot of people in marginalized and under-engaged communities often feel like when there's GPS information sent, demographic questions asked, or personal or sensitive information, that is being requested from them. They feel like this is something that happens over and over again that doesn't yield any results. And so this is something that we wanted to be very cognizant of. We also learned that opt-in is a win. Having the democratic decision to share your personal information at the end of the survey would lead to more success. And also offering A, B, C, D options is not a solution. People often felt pigeonholed where they were restricted. And above all, people really just want to be heard, which is why we started focusing on open-ended questions. And so throughout this process, from all of those learnings, we actually developed a model that we call data by the people for the people. It's focused on co-design, and that's starting with surveys, which is why we actually co-design all surveys with our customers. Then it moves into collect, finding equitable ways to collect data, and then co-modeling, a process that we're starting to work on now. How can we co-model data, especially unstructured data, to ensure that people have an active process in data collection and insights from start to finish, and that process doesn't just stop after their data is collected and they don't yield any results, or we're not able to hold anyone accountable. And it was this method and process that informed the product that we created, CoCensus, and its scalability. So for most of you who might have signed up for CoCensus last year when we launched our MVP in March, this is what you might have seen. You've got a text message survey because our MVP was focused on making public engagement accessible. But you also probably had access to a link that led you to Airtable to see your survey results. And you probably got weekly reports that showed you some of the information that you were seeing in your survey. It was very simple, text message reports and the ability to get, text message surveys and the ability to get those weekly reports. As we continue to grow and scale, though, we realized that gathering representative data was critical to success of our customers. So we then launched beta in September of last year. That is the current product that most of you have worked off of. And it gives you the ability to launch those surveys, get help with survey design and translations, and also see some of your real-time data coming in. But the missing piece was always the insights and the ability to visualize that data. And that's what brings us to the now, which is CoCensus 1.0. So I'm super excited to announce some of the features that we've launched on the product to date. 1.0 has some key new metrics that help you go beyond the data that you're collecting to really start to understand the community voice. And so I'm going to go through some of these features now, and then we'll definitely have time at the end for a Q&A so you can ask any questions about some of our new features. But the first of those features is accessing real-time metrics. Now you have the ability to know your completion rate for your surveys. And this completion rate is mainly focused on understanding how many people started your survey versus finished it. And just so you know, our average completion rate for our customers has been around 60%, which is really high for industry standard, which is usually around 15. You can also see the number of responses for all of your surveys and how many languages people are responding in. In addition, we break down those languages for you with a data visualization that highlights how many people responded in what language. For a lot of our customers, they're doing targeted outreach in cultural communities or using press specific magazines that are focused in communities. So now you can understand if your outreach has been effective and if it's working or not, and also understand how diverse your responses are. Getting that representative data is really critical for most of our communities. So we want to ensure you have access to doing that. One of the key things we often heard from our customers is that I want to know where people are responding from in our surveys. And now with the integration with Esri, we are able to do that. So you'll see on your platform with any new surveys that are launched, a view of how many people are responding in what specific zip code. The darker the color of the area of the map means that you have more responses there, which also supports you with your community outreach, your marketing, and your press efforts. And one of the other features we added is a natural language processing tool that helps you get a macro overview of some of the key things that are being said in your survey responses. We do this by looking at the most common words that are said in individual responses and highlight that for you as a top trend. So as you see here, there's a list of 2-word phrases. Once you click on that 2-word phrase, you're able to see up to 12 survey responses that utilize those 2 words. So you can start understanding what most people are saying in their surveys. A few more features we have are focused on integrating your external data on our platform. Most of our customers, to our knowledge, use SurveyMonkey, so they can do an online survey in tandem with launching a text message survey on CoCensus. So with that, we've created the ability for you to download your SurveyMonkey data by CSV and simply drag and drop that into the platform. By doing that, you'll be able to pull in all of your data to our CoCensus platform, but also get data visualizations on that data as well. And one of the last things we've created is very much focused on community outreach and being able to engage your community in a more inclusive and accessible way. We've started to build out something called the Digital Inclusion Hub. This helps you understand key digital inclusion statistics and figures and identify specific ways that you can engage those communities across the country. Some of the cities you see here, San Francisco, Oakland, Baltimore, Seattle, are the cities that we're actually live in. And the data that's included here is a demographic breakdown of how many people live in that specific city, but also gives you stats on how many people in the homeless population and even the aging population have access to smartphones. So you know when launching a text message survey can be the most impactful. And this is something that's real time and live. So we'll be updating it over the course of the coming few months. Our goal is to provide you with the most up-to-date information in a single place on people who are impacted by the digital divide, but also on accessibility. One of our key goals in creating CoCensus is creating a way to engage the community that is more accessible. And that means communities of color, people with different abilities, the aging population, and so on. So keep watching our Digital Inclusion Hub as we continue to add more information over time. Overall, these are a listing of a few of the key features that we've added on the platform. But the platform is only part of the work that our team has managed to do. We've actually launched a help center to be supportive for our customers as you navigate the process of launching a survey with us and analyzing that data. So what you'll see in that help center is a range of things, from questions that are answered for you directly on the platform, step-by-step tutorials on launching your survey and different support topics. And you'll actually get videos and breakdowns of how to do simple things like launching a survey on our platform and looking at data visualizations. And then the final thing is a comprehensive glossary. For some of the people we talk to, you'll hear terms like anti-racist framework, in-language responses, a trigger word, short code, all of that we break down. So we're speaking the same language. Again, our goal is to build a community. So to do that, we have to start building out some of the same languages we're speaking and some of the same values. And this is key to that. And completely tied to our values is our community, which we've built out. And that's specifically only for our customers and the folks that we're partnered with. Our community is a space that allows you to look at how our customers are starting to build a more equitable world using our product. It's a digital hub that highlights a few things that allow you to engage with our fellow customers, but also give you an opportunity to read use cases and stories. So when you check out our community page, you'll be able to see a few things like full-length case studies. This one is specifically from the San Francisco County Transportation Authority, who we've worked with on the congestion pricing study. And in addition to that, you'll be able to see perspectives from our customers and also how to get more engaged. We're starting to build out a Slack community that's specifically for transit agencies so they can converse on how they can make their process more equitable, but also how they can further support their community members across the country. And so with that, we can go to our Q&A if anyone has any specific questions about some of our new features that we launched. And I'm actually going to back out of here so y'all can now see that on your platform. Everything is live, and these are all of the data visualizations, real time. So we highly encourage all of our customers to be able to log in and see all of this information. So any questions from anyone? Cool. Melanie, Adrian, thank you so much for the congrats. And Autumn, it's great to see you here. Thank you. Cool. Well, if we have no questions, I actually want to, Michael, if you can bring up some of our team members as a panelist. A lot of people often speak to myself, often speak to James, who is our account manager, but you don't often get a chance to see the people behind the work. And none of these data visualizations were built by me, obviously. We have an amazing product team who really worked their behinds off to make this happen. So I want to commend them. Some of them are off camera right now, but they're slowly coming and making their way up. AJ is there. Julian is also somewhere in the mix too. There we go. Our senior engineer, Christina, Star, James. These are all the people who made CoCensus 1.0 come to life. So I really want to thank each one of you. I am a very small piece of this puzzle. It was really their hard work that made this happen. So thank you all. And we appreciate your time this evening. Any other final words, Michael, before we close out?
Nope, I don't think so. Just thank you so much for coming, and we're so excited that all of you are part of our journey.
Awesome. Thank you all and have a good night. And thank you for joining us.